So these people popping up on the screen right now are normal people that went from absolutely no subscribers, no experience on YouTube, to making 10, 20, even 30,000 plus dollars a month. And they did all of it within a span of a year or two. And they didn't do it by making super high production quality content and having super expensive cameras and spending 100 hours editing every single video. They did it making videos that literally anybody could do. And this is a trend that's been happening within the last year or two on YouTube, where these types of channels are blowing up because the YouTube algorithm seems to be favoring this type of content right now. And it's honestly kind of broken because 5 years back in a lot of different niches, you did have to make really high production quality content in order to get views and stand out. And that's why you saw back then channels like Mr. Beast were doing exactly that. Lots of edits. Each video probably took like 500 to 1,000 hours to make, and he was spending a ton of money on the videos. But now YouTube is favoring more raw, authentic channels, and I'm actually gonna dive in and show you a bunch of examples of these so that you can see exactly what's working right now. And I'm gonna estimate approximately how long it takes them to make these videos and how much they're making. So if you appreciate me doing this type of content, let me know by gently tapping that like button. And let's jump into it right now. The first YouTube channel we're gonna be talking about is absolutely incredible, and it's Ian on YouTube. Now, he blew up recently, and he did it by literally just recording, for lack of a better word, just how crappy his life was, right? So he was working at a 7-Eleven over the age of 30, which that's considered to be kind of like a dead-end job. And he was basically just recording that, right? He was just documenting how bad his life was and posting it to YouTube. And he blew up about 5 months ago or so. And the video that blew up was why I am 30 years old working a dead-end retail job. And that blew up and got about 2.9 million views. Now, if you look at his view stats profile, it'll say that he's making about 6.9 to $19,000 a month. Now, based on how long his videos are, 17 minutes, 15 minutes, etc., and how personable they are, where it's like basically just taking you through his life, and the fact that it's somewhat educational, he's basically talking about, the mistakes he made and, what he would have done better, etc., etc. I think that he's probably making a bit more than this. So he's likely making somewhere around $5 per 1,000 views. And so he's likely making about $25,000 a month just from AdSense alone. Now, what's incredible is if you look at his most viewed video here, why I am 30 years old working a dead-end retail job, when you scroll down to the comments section, you will see that people are donating massive amounts of money to him. Okay, so just as an example, this person donated $200. You scroll down a little bit, this person donated like 500 euros, which is probably around $600. This person donated $500. $25, another $500, $99, $200, and it just keeps going. And it's not just this video, it's a lot of his videos. So there's a massive amount of people donating money to him from this video where he basically just talks about his struggles and kind of documents his life as a 30-year-old working a dead-end retail job. And as you can see with this video, there's nothing special. I mean, he's probably just recording with his phone. There's no special audio. He's just recording with his phone, just going through his day-to-day, and then he goes home and he kind of does like talking head style. It looks like he's still recording with his phone. And that's all. Quick break. I'm going to be doing a live training this Tuesday, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, where I'm going to be revealing the greatest business in 2025. It's a completely free training, no strings attached. In fact, I'm giving away even more bonuses at the training. Just as an example, I'm going to be giving away my 60-second niche validator GPT, which is a super valuable piece of software where you can finally figure out what the best niche for you is. So do not miss out on this training. Make sure you sign up for it down in the description and the pinned comment below, because this will be the only time we do it, and it will be the only time we give away the 60-second niche validator GPT. And you'll get to meet me and you'll get to ask me questions directly. So I look forward to seeing you there. So click the link in the description in the pinned comment below, Tuesday, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Put it on your calendar. And if for whatever reason you missed out on it, you weren't able to attend, make sure you still click that link, because we might be having workshops in the future as well, and you'll be the first to know about it. So yeah, hope to see you there. So basically, like, a lot of people will be like, oh, I can't start a YouTube channel because I don't have any skills and I don't have anything going for me in my life. Well, Like, look at this guy. He literally monetized the fact that he didn't have any, valuable skills and didn't have anything going for him in his life. He literally monetized that. Why? Because it's relatable. There's a ton of other people that are in the same boat as him. And there's a ton of other people that have been in the same boat as him, so they can relate to the struggle. But you might be thinking, well, Shane, I have nothing to talk about. Well, there's a bunch of channels that talk about random things that they're interested in, because maybe you don't have a dead-end job. You have a pretty good job. You're like an accountant making $60,000 a year. Well, this guy right here talks about the most random things that are involved in self-development. And that's the next channel that I want to showcase. And that is Nero Knowledge. So this channel is hilarious. It's basically this guy who, he wears like the white, wife beater shirt, and he talks about highly like philosophical self-development type concepts, like manifesting stuff and all that kind of thing. And, his most popular video is how to outsmart the game of reality. And he basically just talks about stuff, and then he draws stuff on his whiteboard, and that's it. And he is just unapologetically himself. There's very little editing as well. He has basically little to no editing in his videos. It's just him talking on his whiteboard off the cuff, off the top of his head, about these different topics, like how to outsmart the game of reality. Now, according to view stats, it says he's making about $468 to $1.5 thousand a month. Now, I can tell you this is for almost certainly extremely far off. He's making at least $10 per 1,000 views because he's doing educational content, plus he's doing really long videos. So I wouldn't be surprised if he's actually making closer to $20 per 1,000 views. So this number is much more likely to be around $9,500 a month just from AdSense alone. Now, keep in mind, with educational content, you can monetize in many different ways. So for instance, if you look in his About section, you can work with him one-on-one. So he sells probably some courses and some coaching on topics related to manifesting or the law of attraction or self-development. And he's probably making 10 times more than what he makes from AdSense selling that. And if he's not, and if you're watching this, Nero, you need to work with me, because I can teach you how to make probably more like 20 or 30 times more than what you're making from AdSense by properly monetizing. And that's something that I've helped a lot of people do. So yeah, really cool channel, very raw, very authentic, off the cuff, long videos, and people absolutely love it. Oh yeah, and something else I wanted to point out, with both Nero and Ian on YouTube, the thumbnails were dead simple. I mean, they were basically just still shots with maybe a tiny little bit of alteration. Like, there's usually no words on the thumbnails. It's just very, very simple stuff. Now, another channel I want to point out is Elevate to the Unknown. And this is ran by Antoine Wade. He's one of my clients. And he makes very simple videos about how to advance in your career. Now, he is incredibly busy. He has a full-time job in tech sales where he's a super high-performing salesman, and that takes a lot of time and effort. And he has multiple businesses, and he has a family, and he has investments, and he tries to have a life. And so he's unbelievably busy. He literally does not have time to spend a lot of time on his content. And so what we did is implemented our system for streamlining the content creation process to where he only has to spend like a few hours a week to create videos consistently. And yeah, his videos are relatively simple. Doesn't get that many views, but he's monetizing correctly, so he's making a really good amount of money. And between all of his businesses, which he promotes heavily with YouTube, he's making over $100,000 a month. But you might be thinking, you know what, Shane, I'm not in a fancy career like sales. I can't teach people how to get sales jobs. I'm in a boring career. I'm an accountant. Well, that's exactly the same situation that this client, Bill Hanna, was in, the financial controller. So he basically teaches accountants how to become financial controllers, which is a very high level accounting position. And he is absolutely crushing it on YouTube. Now, if you look at his view stats, they're gonna say he's making like $5,000 to $1.4 thousand a month from AdSense. Realistically, he's probably making about $20 per 1,000 views. So he's probably making somewhere around $4,000 a month from AdSense. But like I said before, there are many ways to monetize if you're making educational content, and specifically if you're making niche educational content, there's many other ways to monetize. So basically what he does is he makes videos just going over accounting concepts that to him are very simple and easy. And he can just talk about this stuff off the top of his head because he does it every single day. So it's insanely easy for him to make this content. And it's probably also very boring, but he's helping other people that it's not easy for, right? He's helping other people where it's very tedious and difficult, and he's helping them learn the skills that are gonna allow them to get a better job. So when he did a testimonial for me last time we spoke, he was making $70,000 a month. Now, by the way, if you're confused about your niche, if you're confused about what video ideas to make, because the video idea is literally the most important thing that will make or break your channel, or if you're confused about how to properly monetize your videos, I actually recently created a GPT where I had thousands of hours of my teachings and even my coaching sessions where people are asking me questions and I'm answering them. And I plugged all of that into a GPT and then I trained it to be as close to me as it possibly can be when it comes to answering questions. So this is as close as you're gonna get to directly working with me, and I'm offering it completely free. You can check it out down in the description and the pinned comment below. And that will save you literally thousands of hours of banging your head against the wall. So do not miss out on it, check it out. Now you might be thinking, Shane, I don't wanna make a channel about my job. I don't wanna do super educational content. I also don't wanna document, the bad things that are happening in my life. Well, you could also look into doing a channel like Outdoor Boys. So this is a channel where he just does outdoor stuff with his family and he records it and then he documents it. It's not super heavily edited. It's basically just him recording probably with a GoPro and then he just cuts the clips together. And he hasn't posted a video in a month. He did the classic, YouTuber goodbye or I quit or I'm retiring. He'll probably be back in a few months, but you know how YouTubers do that. And he's still making $151,000 to $420,000 a month. Absolute legend. But you might be thinking, well, Shane, you're showing all guys and he's making way more money than what I want to make. Well, actually, there's women that are kind of in the same niches. They're doing a lot of the same type of stuff. For instance, Madison Clydesdale, she makes, relatively similar content. She doesn't have a big family like he does. She's mostly doing it on her own, but relatively similar content. And if you look at her view stats, she's making $2.6 to $7.3 thousand a month. And again, her videos are longer, so this is probably more around the $5 to $10 range. So I'd be willing to bet she's making $15,000 to $30,000 a month. And that's just from AdSense alone. If she's monetizing properly, she'll probably be making anywhere from 2 to 3 times more than that. And by the way, if anyone that runs these channels is watching this and you're like, hey, I'm not making that much, you need to talk to me because you should be making that much if you're monetizing properly. So book a call in the description in the pinned comment below. Now you might be thinking, Shane, I don't want to show my face, right? I don't want to do education content. I don't want to show my face, but I still want to make money on YouTube. Well, there's a lot of channels doing that as well. For instance, this one just started, Barely Jazz. And I guess this is kind of outside of the scope of this video, but I'm just, just to show it, just to give you an example. Barely Jazz, they basically make jazz music. They probably use the app Suno, which is incredible for making original music. And then they either have these little pictures that they probably generate with like ChatGPT or Midjourney. And sometimes they even turn these little pictures into animations where the girl will be like, smoking the cigarette. And this channel is making $2.2 to $7,000 a month. Now I'll show an example of a channel that uses just a little bit of editing, okay? And this is one of my clients, Sean Dolet. He uses a tiny little bit of editing. Most of his videos are him. He starts off just talking head style and he talks to the camera. Then he moves to looking at a PowerPoint and kind of showing his screen. Okay, so super simple content. Doesn't take that much editing. I think the editor probably spends like maybe an hour or two editing the video. And then he's got to spend a little bit of time making the PowerPoints, which he may or may not have to do himself, right? Obviously, if you have a really good system in place, you utilize AI, you hire people, you can have them do that work for you. And yeah, his content's super simple. And if you look at view stats, it'll say he only makes about $1.9 to $5.2 thousand a month. Now, of course, I have access to his account on the back end, and I know that he's making at least $15,000 a month in AdSense. Again, it's educational content. It's very niche, so the AdSense money is going to be higher. And that's just in AdSense alone. When I first started working with him, he was stuck around $10,000 to $30,000 a month. And after working with me for 9 months, we scaled all the way up to $500,000 a month. So I know what his back end is, and I know he's making over $500,000 a month. And he's doing it with super simple content. And it's all about choosing the right niche, choosing the right video ideas, and then monetizing those videos effectively. And so this just goes to show you don't have to get millions of views a month to make millions of dollars. In fact, most of his videos get 5,000, 7,000, 13,000, 64,000 for a really good one, they're not getting that many views, and he's still absolutely crushing it. Now, if you are serious about growing on YouTube and you don't want to waste thousands of hours banging your head against the wall trying to figure it out on your own, you have two options. You can either pay with your time, spending those thousands of hours, or you can pay with your money. And if you're interested in actually getting one-on-one coaching from myself and my team, then go ahead and book a call down the description and the pinned comment below. That's exactly what Sean did, where he was stuck making $10,000 to $30,000 a month, and he was able to scale his channel all the way up to over $500,000 a month. So definitely check it out. Just save yourself so much time, effort, and money. The call itself will be super valuable. We'll basically go over where you are right now, where you want to be. We'll figure out a plan to get there, and we'll see if we're a good fit to work together or not. And additionally, check out the interview and case study I did with Sean, where we broke down everything he did to get to 500K per month by clicking right here.